Looking for a new place to live, huh? That's awesome. Congrats. It's usually pretty exciting to move. A new home, a new neighborhood, maybe a new city, some new roommates, and hopefully one that doesn't smell a little bit too bad, you know? Lots of new stuff. Like my new succulent. Check it out. It's so adorable, I know, like me. But just a fair warning, leasing an apartment and moving can be a lot. It tends to be a very involved process, and there's a lot that goes to it, but hey, that's why I'm here. In this lesson, we'll cover what to think about when prepping for your apartment search. Budgeting, move-in time, location, roommates, amenities, and more. It all starts with some valuable prep. A lot which is mental, but let's dive into the key considerations of renting an apartment. Budgeting for the move. One of the first things to consider is how much you can afford to pay towards your living situation each month. You know, be honest with yourself. There tends to be a lot of expenses associated with your home. Rent, which is the most obvious one, but there's also stuff like utilities, electricity, gas, water, renter's insurance, annoying, we'll discuss that more later, and others depending on where you live. Maybe you pay for parking, potentially some laundry expenses, you know, if you're into like being clean and stuff. Alex, really? Pick up your stuff. This is what I have to deal with. Some of these costs are recurring or monthly, and others can be one-offs. Moving almost always requires a security deposit. A security deposit is what the landlord requires you to pay for any damages or other incidentals when you move out. Typically, if you behave, you should get it back, and it's typically equal to 1 month's rent. And the application also requires a fee. On top of that, if you use movers, that can cost, yeah? And furniture, you know, it can be pricey too. Costs can definitely pile up, but there are ways to keep them on the lower side. Did anyone say IKEA? I mean, I love IKEA. In the end, think about what applies to you and how much you can afford to spend on these living necessities. According to Chase, the bank, not your friend with the mullet, you'll want to spend a max of 30% of your monthly income on rent alone. When do you want to move? Another important one is move-in time. You know, like when are you planning to ship on over? Come on to the other side of living and adulting. Hey, you never know. Maybe you can squeeze in a few extra months living with your parents and not paying rent. Sometimes that's not too shabby. Sometimes it's very shabby, yeah, let's be honest. And oftentimes it's not an option for many. One thing to consider is seasonality. There is a moving season. Lots of people like to move in the summer months, after graduating, or when starting school. Plus, if you live in a cold climate area, who wants to lug an ottoman through the snow? Not me. When it's high moving season, your moving costs can increase, and it can be more difficult to find a place if the supply of available apartments is low. So think about it. You can put those on the left. Thank you. Oh, I just love the movers, don't you? Where do you want to live? The location you choose is often dictated by your budget. Cha-ching. Not surprisingly, a lot of high-demand hotspots tend to cost more, but you'll also want to consider a few key potential make-it-or-break-it location-related things. What's your commute to work going to be like? Where do your friends and your family live? How far are you from public transportation? And how walkable is the hood, you know, to restaurants and bars and shopping, etc.? These are some of the keys to ask yourself when picking a location. Who do you want to live with? Oh, this is my favorite one. Are you more of the fly solo type? I am. Or are you the one opting for the roomies? You know, typically living on your own will cost more, higher rent, paying more for utilities, pretty much the whole shebang. A lot of peeps in college or straight out of college choose to live with others for a handful of reasons. But one of the big ones is to save on all living related expenses. Oh no, she did not. Alex, I see you on Snapchat with my straightener. Put it back. What type of amenities do you want? Amenities can really run the whole gamut. Many buildings have little to no amenities, but some, they have it all. In your own unit, think about the need for AC. How many bathrooms? Are utilities included? Is there a washer and a dryer? Can you have your furry friend along for your life's next journey? We know that you don't and you shouldn't leave PD on the streets. I wouldn't want to be left on the streets. Do you have parking spot? Is there a gym, a pool, a hair salon? Hey, you just never know. What do you need for your application process? It's a wise move to prep early for the application process because there's a lot you'll need. Landlords typically ask for a handful of documents, some of which you'll need from others. A couple of documents are different types of financial info, like your credit score and income details. If you can't hit the requirements, you'll likely need to look at getting a co-signer as a guarantor, aka someone the landlord can blame if you can't come through with this month's rent check. Finally, you might also need to get references from previous landlords. Oh, I love my landlord. He was the best at the last location. I realized I didn't have all my Amazon packages because he took them. Or others who can vouch for you as, a good potential tenant. You're relying on others for those docs, so keep that in mind when it comes to prepping. If you're looking for more deets on the lease application process, check out our lesson on, yes, the application process. Renting an apartment can be extensive for sure, but with enough prep, everything is easier. So happy hunting!